Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, so we're gonna dive more into career path and trying to find my goals, my dreams, and opportunities. But then, I was limited on options because of religion, God, Jesus, Christian values. Because who would have thought that going into computers would lead and the thing is part of me is just especially now that I'm no longer brainwashed because back in high school it's especially the way our church preached about it, I was like, no way, no, never. And also, what does computers have to do with that? And then as I got older, especially right before I graduated, I'm like, what in the world does computer programming have to do with my sexuality is? And also, there are a lot of positions that are stereotyped, but at the end of the day, it's like most people say should stay in the kitchen, but look at the male celebrities. Well, white male privilege, but that's a different story for a different day. Because doing a lot of research, well, you know what, different subject, different day. But when you look at even dancers, I know of a couple male dancers, and people used to say, oh, you're going to be gay, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. Can't it be passion, talent, brilliance? Can't it be their passion for the art of whatever they're doing? And it's kind of annoying and frustrating and tedious because part of me is just like, you have one life to live. You have one life to live. And I'm still a little brainwashed because, I'm sometimes, especially going to this church for over 30 years, I think of something and I have to be like, no, 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 no. This is what your bishop brainwashed you. No, that's not true. No. Because even going back to sexuality, people try to shame strippers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, hey, it's like, and then some people blame the stripper, not the man. And these places stay in business for a reason. And with some of the jobs especially when I first graduated and I was applying for jobs, yeah, applying for secretary jobs on Craigslist, applying for secretary jobs on Craigslist. Switch the C with an X. You don't know how many times they were looking for a different type of secretary. Yeah. And so, anyway, yeah, I've already mentioned at least one or two examples of that scenario happening. But yeah, yeah, but okay. Okay, so I'm going to give the Disney example, or at least start off with that, because, yeah, and the real estate example. I think I've told parts of that story, but this will help you know what a gray sheep is. Okay, so as I said in the last episode, I tried out for the Disney college internship my senior year, and especially it's like I had to change my major a few times because, as you heard, I started off, well, what my parents wanted me to start off with, and that was a nightmare. I didn't understand any of the material. It was very confusing and frustrating and belittling in some points because it was like, I don't get this because I'm not good at it. Because with some of the information, I don't know. I don't want no. And so even and it's crazy with I know some people are never going to believe me, but I felt like I had spies all over campus because even after my perfect sister graduated, things always got back to my mother. And even with social media, I had to block people because next thing I know, my mother would tell me, "So you're posting this. How do you know?" It's like you're not on the internet because this is before smartphones or the internet was such a big thing. This is when you had to basically at home sign up on it. So while at college, you use it as much as well. No, I think the upgrades were during my college, so we didn't have to like do the whole telephone modem thing anymore. But my parents were hardly ever on. They didn't have like this is beginning of social media, especially this is MySpace era time or whatever. And so it was really frustrating because she would tell me what I'm posting, and sometimes it was about writing, or sometimes it was even about new cartoons or anime coming out, things like that. And why are you posting this childish stuff? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And so even when I was dating the guy from church, when I changed my status from dating him to being single, oh, she got upset. And she told me, you better switch it back and you're going to give him another chance. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, I told the story, but it's like, I still didn't say everything. There are still going to be some things you're going to hear about with that awful situation down the line, but she literally had, it's like I can't even say halfway. No, she did threaten me. It's like telling me that I have to get back with this guy, even though I was no longer interested. And yes, this meant I was going to be single. Yes, this is going to, and part of me was thinking, don't you want to be right? As long as I walk like this, no one's ever going to want me, love me, or marry me. But now I'm dating this guy and then I break up with him. But now you're not allowing me to break up with him to the point where you team up with a family member to force me to go out with him. Literally, literally. I've mentioned this in another, so I'll keep going. But it just like almost everything that was going on, even with changing my major and or talking to different staff members or so-called friends about my thoughts about careers and different things I wanted to maybe get into with work and things like that. It always got back to her to the point where I was scared to talk sometimes. And even with the white eyeliner, I like looked that up because yeah, Grease Sheep episode again, but it's like I couldn't even try different makeup. I couldn't like try different things with my outfits or whatever because it always got back to her. And so, anyways, when I got downstairs after getting the acceptance letter for Disney, and I'm not used to getting the congratulations letters, you I'm kind of like the leftover daughter in a way, or the gray sheep again, but I'm kind of used to the you're not as good as the other one, so we'll have the other one inside kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, so for me to get a response that quickly, and the guy even told me the faster the reply, the better, you know? So I was really excited. I ran downstairs and I showed my parents, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to help me. Like, especially trying to find a job, trying to find a career. This is going to help me so much. So I'm so excited. And I remember going to the kitchen, showing them, and next thing they know, my mother's like, "No, you're not. You're not going." My heart sunk, and I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? This is gonna help me get a job." Because she told me as long as I walk like this, no one's ever gonna hire me. No one's ever going to want me, and or they're going to make up excuses to in order to not hire me. And that is the case. That has happened so many times. I told you about the job interview at the job fair at Ford Field, and there's so many examples, but the Ford Field one still haunts me till this day. It's like the way, yeah. Oh, and then also, well, because that was disability wise, but sometimes I wonder if it was because I was black. But I know it was part. I wasn't diagnosed yet, but it's like with the shoes and well, with my walking. I anyway. Anyways, go back to that episode. But I I knew that with applying for jobs, this would help me tremendously because not everybody gets to do this opportunity and be able to take the business classes at Disney. So I was ecstatic. And then my mom tells me I can't do it. And then she says it's because of 9/11. And I was kind of shocked because it's been a few years and everything like that. But it's like my mom kept saying it. And I was even planning out. I was like, okay, can I take the bus? And she laughed. She was like, no. And I was like, can I take a train? I was trying to think of anything and everything. And to the point where she slapped me pretty hard. So it was later in the day, but I was giving her plans. I looked up, did my research, printed it out, and showed her different ways where I would be able to go to Disney, and different ways where if I if I had to pay for myself, and or if I need to borrow because it was an internship, I would be getting paid working. So then I would either mail her, send her, whatever, the payments to pay her back for the transportation. And so, yeah, she let me know it was a heck to the no. So, the very next year, the very next year, my perfect sister got accepted into a program that went with her the next stage of her career, and she had to fly. And part of me was just like, oh well, I know they're not going to let her do that because 9/11. And it's like but no, my mother jumped at the chance, and I was so confused. It's like like my mom helped her, and they were like, "Oh, do we need to go shopping? Do you need any extra clothes or, etc., etc.?" And I'm like, "What is going on?" It's like I offered to take a bus, a train, anything and everything for this once in a lifetime opportunity, something that would be able to help me with getting a career, a job, especially since I walk strange. I know I need it. And so it wasn't that year, but it was a couple years later when I was doing promotional modeling and I was starting to drive long distances on purpose. Whenever I could find a promo that was out of state, I tried for it because that meant I wasn't going to be at home. That meant I wasn't going to be near her because every time I was near her, and no one will ever understand everything that this woman did to me, said to me, how she traumatized me. And because of her, I used to wonder, especially like after my surgery and stuff, why am I so scared to go near certain type of stairs? And I had to remind myself that it was because of her. Because since I tripped over myself a lot and I walk differently. Let's just say she had certain threats. And one, well, twice, but one time she did it and I caught the reel. But I just remember how a couple years after my perfect sister got to have the opportunity of a lifetime to help her further her career, I was doing promotional modeling and I was thinking about going into real estate, and I'll do the short version of the real estate story right after. But my mom called me to her room because I'm starting to get my life together and I'm going to try to save money and I'm working on my master's, and I'm like, okay, so this way I will be able to get a career now because I put more pieces together to help my resume so that I can work. She called me into the room and she told me close the door, and oh, that's always like I hate it. Like whenever she called me, I was like, just don't tell me to close the room. Just don't tell me to close the door. But she told me to close the door, and that's when she let me know the real reason why she didn't allow me. I think she was holding it in for years for the perfect moment to haunt me, to tear me down, to make me realize that I was never going to be anything, that she was going to do anything in her power to be absolutely terrible to me. And she did a great job. In public, oh, everyone's like, oh, she must be so happy for your mother. Oh, she's just so great and so amazing. Like, you don't know this woman. You don't know this woman. Because I finally felt like I will have peace soon. I will be saving up to be on my own soon. And when she looked me in the eyes and told me, you know why I really didn't let you go on that Disney thing, that internship. And it was like even the way she moved her neck while she said it, because she was sitting in her bed and everything like that. But she just kind of had like this smug look on her face. And she said, you know why I didn't let you go, right? And I didn't know. I was like, you said 9/11. And she laughed. She laughed. And I'm looking around like, okay, what am I missing? What's going on? I'm confused. And she said, I didn't let you go because you're going to only turn out to be a Disney, well, on this channel, I have to say garden hoe. You weren't going to end up being anything. You were just going to go down there and end up being a garden hoe. You're probably just going to come back bringing a baby. You're not going to be anything. You're not going to be anything. I had to do what Jesus wants me to do. And she laughed again. You think anybody's going to want you? You think anyone's going to want you? And it went on. And I started crying, and she just told me, shut up and listen. And I just remember like trying to apply for promos. I didn't care anymore. I remember there was some opportunity like that tore me. But the thing is, like sometimes she did it on purpose where she would save things for years. She was patient and awful because, and then the terrible part was she blamed me for never hanging out with her. She blamed me for never hanging out with her. She would say that I was evil. And I'm just like, do you realize the hurt and the pain that you place on me, the awful things you say and do? How I had an opportunity that would help me, especially if you've been listening to the episodes, you know how hard it was for me to get jobs. And then when I got jobs, most of them were awful or terrible. And so I kept doing promotional modeling because at least I was bringing in some money, and at least that would help. Since I want to go into marketing and advertising, that would help me. But then at the end of the day, yeah, the work doing promotional modeling helped me be able to start teaching at colleges and universities. And because I remember both of my parents would laugh at me and tell me, that's fifth grade work. That's nothing but fifth grade work. A fifth grader can do what you do. Well, this fifth grade work helped me be in the front of a classroom of college students. That's what this fifth grade work helped me do. And I'm telling this story because I know a lot of people are out there who you don't know what you may want to major in, you don't know what career path, you don't know what your passion or dreams are. But then throughout your life, sometimes you've worked on your passions and goals and things that you have such a passion for. And or you know what you want to learn more about. Maybe your parents might have judged you, or even, well, some parents try to marry their kids off real early. Your spouse might not allow you, which, if you remember Mr. Snodgrass, yeah, I broke up with him because he told me I had to choose between being a promotional model and him. And I chose my job because I'm like, you are not going to tell me what I am allowed and not allowed to do. And then a couple years later, he was trying, like maybe 3 or 4 years later, he was offering to break up with his almost fiance because he said he was going to propose to her or get back with me. And he kind of apologized and all the stupidity, but then he even added, and I was going to propose to you. I'm glad you didn't. Especially now you're dating another black woman. And now you're telling me that you are going to either break her heart and break up with her if I say that I want to be back with you. And you think that's you you're gonna probably do the same thing to me. Mm. So I've had a lot of toxicity in my life, but especially when it comes to work. And the crazy thing is now, I used to be threatened to be kicked out of the house if I tried publishing my books. But after my mom passed away, and doctors said that I might have a type of cancer and might die, I was like, no, I'm going to be an author before I die. So I already had a couple books planned and everything, and one of them is like I had found an illustrator, and throughout, I think I hired her like a couple months before my surgery, and then I think 2021 or 2022, it was, my first book was up, and I remember I bought a copy so that I could show my dad. And I remember when he looked at it, he was just like, "What's this? Who made this?" And I showed him the cover and pointed at my name. And he was so shocked. And he was like, "How did you do this?" And I'm just like, I don't know. It's like, this will be another episode, but so many times I make and create things, but then people are like, who did this? Who made this? And I say, I did. And they act like they're so shocked. They act like they're so shocked. Except for a couple individuals. Because, anyways, I don't know why, but when I make something, I want it to be quality. I want it to be something that is at least cherished or something that people find value in. But that's a different story for another Gray Sheep episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too.